I'm the computer man. I'm the Macintosh man with the virus scan. Moving your files all across the land. Some Photoshop filters in After Dark. Get your Microsoft Office, express your quark. Millions of colors with a VRAM chip. How about a system crash that'll make you flip? I'm the computer man. I'm saying Windows 95 is plug and pray. If it's fonts you want, you gotta go to Macway. Log right on as my personal guest. You'll have Macintosh software on your desk. Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best.
Good evening, K-Squid listeners. Good evening, Santa Cruz, Monterey, Central Coast, and beyond. My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers, right by the beach here in beautiful Santa Cruz, California. And for the next hour, I'm your tour guide into a world of wonder, magic, information, and, of course, a lot of frustration. That's right, we're talking about the internet and the world of computing. I am your computer man. Welcome to one of the most helpful, friendly tech counters you have ever visited. I'd like to welcome you to your local radio station, your local Tuesday night, here at KSQD Santa Cruz, KSQT Prunedale at 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM, and always online at ksqd.org, as well as our amazing app in the Apple App Store and Google Play Store. You can check us out on both places, depending on what kind of phone you've got or devices you've got. But cool, welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to your Tuesday night. Got a ton of stuff we're going to be talking about tonight. A lot of current events and things that are going on in the world. And I kind of want to talk about some of the tech on the background of some of these things, and also not get into some of them as much as a lot of the other people are getting into them. But I just wanted to clear up some questions that people had, and people have been asking me about them, and we can talk about that stuff too. We're going to be talking about it here on KSQD and ksqd.org. You know, if you're jumping over to our website, ksqd.org, and you listen to us over there, where we have our 2-week audio archive, a lot of cool stuff going on the website. You can see any current events or upcoming events that we're hosting and all the things that are going on here at the station, as well as that are just going on around the county and all the important things that we like to keep up to date on. And of course, that huge, beautiful candy-like donate button at the very top that keeps us going, which we always appreciate. Thank you so much for that. The website's really important, but also, you know, our app is really, really cool because you can jump on there, you can listen to it, you can have full control on your phone you can close and lock your screen and still have the control, play, fast forward, rewind. But there's also like that little messaging button down at the bottom. And I'm going to be opening that up right now. That goes directly to our email. So if you have anything that you'd like to talk to us about, or you're enjoying the show, or you have a question, you can just jump on the app and literally click that little envelope looking guy down there at the bottom. Click on that and that will bring up a messaging thing. You can send us a quick message, a note, something you'd like to say, or like with us, you can send in a computer question, or you can give us a call here at 831-900-5773. But one of the really nice things about it is it comes basically through our system, through to us, and it goes directly to the people listening and directly to everybody else. So super cool place to be. Place to go is the KSQD app, and you can search for that on the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store. And of course, if you really want to jump into it and you're super into the Computer Man Show and you want to download our podcast, you can go onto the Apple podcasting service as well as Spotify and YouTube, etc., and you'll find us there. And from there, you can just search the Computer Man Show, and under the podcast here, I think we're still live. Yep, there we are. We actually just did a collaboration with Moment of Truth, which is really cool. So you can find that if you search for the Computer Man Show and see all of the coolness that comes with that. But going on, we're going to just see what else is going on tonight. And if you want to give me a call, be a part of the show, 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. Be stoked to have you with us tonight. Questions, comments, concerns. Last week we had quite a doozy. We had a pretty strong story about a hefty scam with a lot of cash, and I had a lot of responses from people emailing me and calling me at the shop and telling me just that they've either gone through something like that or they know someone who's gone through something similar to that. And just it's so prevalent. And this is just in our small community, right? This is going on everywhere. So one of the best things you can do is, besides listening to the show and picking up on the things that I'm picking up on too, and just kind of keeping yourself with it, is just do things a little slower. Coming from someone who talks at you 1,000 miles a minute, right? But if you can step back and just see the emails that come through and go, oh my gosh, and go through those steps, go, oh my gosh, it's a PayPal thing, I'm gonna go check my PayPal app. Well, okay, there's nothing negative in my PayPal app, but maybe it's on my bank. It's gotta be my bank. I'm gonna check my bank. And there's nothing in my bank either. Okay. Well, it also said that it was coming through there was a mail. They sent me a letter. Check my mailbox. There's no mail in the box. Okay. So you can kind of like diffuse yourself, right? And it's just, they're trying to get you wound up, and they're trying to just catch you. and let you and continue to lie until they've gotten some cash out of you, right? So if we can keep our heads, it's the best thing we can do, as well as educating the ones around us, our elderly friends, or even our younger friends, our family members. And if you're doing something and it's big like that, and I don't know, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, and they might question it. And I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure how else to reach people besides just getting others to educate the ones around them. I'm at a loss, and if you can come up with a way, email me, Luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com. I'd love to hear from you. If you're stumbling across this Computer Man show, what exactly is this show? What are we going to be talking about for the next hour? Well, we're talking about updates, new devices, testimonials, scams, and most importantly, our call-ins. That's right, you. What's going across your bench? What's going across your device? And why is it not doing the thing it's supposed to be doing? Give me a call, 831-900-5773. You can email me here on air at ksqd.org. Or if you pick us up on the app as well, you can hit that little envelope down the bottom and send us a message over that way. Besides that, let's get into it here. Of course, we're here every Tuesday night from 6 to 7 p.m. We've stumbled across here at this time, so we're stoked to be with you. Let's talk about some scam stuff first. Actually, one of the emails I got this last week was really nice. It said, "Love your show, therapy. The recent story featuring that poor scam woman was terrifying. I agree. I'm wondering about a couple of emails I've recently received. I sent a photo of one supposedly from Norton. Fortunately, probably thanks to you, I've learned to ignore them. Although I did take a photo, which I just sent in the previous email to you. Can you please comment? And I like to make sure no one has really charged me." Okay, so at first I would look at that and I go, okay, if it's something from something we have, like if you're getting an email from Norton, do you have the Norton antivirus? And you're like, well, I'm not really sure. I'm like, okay, no problem. If we're on a Mac, you can go up to your applications list. You can literally click on the little finder face down at the bottom and then go to applications on the left-hand side. Or if you click on the finder face and at the very top, you click go and then go to applications. Go through your list. See if McAfee's in there. And then on a PC, you can actually hit the start menu on the very bottom left-hand side or the center of the screen, depending on if you're in Windows 10 or Windows 11, and just type in McAfee. Is this one McAfee? Is that what it was? McAfee, Norton, and type in Norton and see if that pops up. If it doesn't, you can go to the add programs or add remove programs either under the control panel or under the programs and features and look in the list and see if it's in the list. If it's not in the list, you don't have it installed. But you might also see it down by the clock running on a PC. So hit that little up arrow and see what's under the hidden items and see if you have a little Norton face in there. And if you hover your mouse over usually it'll tell you what it is after you just hovered for just a second. It'll tell you the individual items that are in your task manager. So if you don't have those there and they're not running and you haven't had them before, you most likely haven't been charged for them. Most likely. But again, the email is trying to get you to click on something to go log in. It's trying to get you to go to your bank or send them something or just pay a bill and here's an address or something. But most likely it's trying to get you to click on something. So at this point, I would go to norton.com. I would try typing in your email address and I usually do a forgot your password. I'll type in my email address and I hit forgot your password and it says, "We don't have an account with this name." And you go, okay. And there I know. You guys sent me the email over to Luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com. I then went to Norton, tried to sign in with my Luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com. I didn't know my password, so I forgot my password. It says, "We don't have an account from your name. Therefore, this has to be fake." Besides just looking at the email up at the very top and seeing who it's coming from, that header can say anything, but who it's coming from is really that key. There's another one that I got from my neighbor who has an Xfinity email address, and the Xfinity email address, if you have an Xfinity email address, there is just no filtering at all in any of that stuff. You're getting everything. Really everything. The last one that he sent to me was this Xfinity email that just had it in bold and this Arial new font or something. It wasn't even like the Xfinity font. And it said, "Immediate action required. Update your Comcast terms to stay connected. Click update." And it says it came from Comcast Inc. in the parentheses, but the actual email address is NHEMMEAECDEHCMC@comcast.net. And you're like, okay, a multi-billion-dollar company or million-dollar company like Comcast is going to have a support at Comcast.net email address, not just another innocuous random, right? It's going to be something, right? So if you think of that, and you go, okay, and then you look at this and go, nope, and then that's it. That's it. Because if you don't see that coming through, then it's not from who you think it's from, and you can just dismiss it for real. And a lot of times, companies that are sending you something that really need to get a hold of you, they might email you, but they're going to go at you some other way, right? They're going to go through the app. They're going to go through this. It's the same. We talk about this a lot, but I'm trying to just bring it home that if you hear it enough, it'll resonate when it happens to you. Go to the app, go to the application, go to the website. If you see something from Amazon, you get an email about it, close the browser and open up your Amazon app. If you have something from Netflix that's screwing with you, close down the browser, go to your Netflix app and go look at that stuff. Go to the application that's saying it's having a problem. They want your money if it's legitimate, and they'll let you know the easiest way to give them your money by giving you a giant yellow bar that says click here to update your payment solutions, et cetera, right? So there are ways that this can there's other ways, but email, even in these companies that really want to get a hold of you, they know that you're going to get like second and third guess that email. I'll be like, I don't think that this email is right. I don't think this is real. And they're going to like probably send you a letter or something like that, or the app won't work, right? Next time you go to it and the app doesn't work, you're like, okay, well, maybe I should pay for this. And that's kind of what they're hoping to. So they know that email scams are happening all the time. Email is not the only way to get a hold of people at this point. So it's just more garbage. Let's see. Of course, don't give remote control of your computer unless you've signed like some type of contract. Again, with my remote monitoring, we always have contracts with people because I take control of their computers. That is a huge invasion of privacy, right? Like you would expect that if you're giving me full access to your computer, that I'm not going to just like jump on there and do whatever I'm going to do or whatever I feel like it. No, there's going to be consequences for that. And by doing that, you sign a contract to make sure that you're covered, and then I'm covered as well. So if you're just letting some dude move your mouse around because they say they're from Microsoft and they're helping you out, Microsoft does not have customer service like that. It's not going to happen. So just don't let that happen. Another way that you can really educate yourself that I found, and we talked about this a couple times now, is cyber101.com. Pretty awesome website these two guys put together that has a lot of just basic training and basic material on multi-factor authentication, malware, ransomware, device security, all that good stuff. So check it out, cyber101.com. It's good stuff. Let's get into some of these articles that I want to actually talk about. There's a couple crazy things that are going on just in the news and stuff. Let's start with... okay, so this one's just more kind of funny. It's about Facebook, so I just want to talk about it because it's funny to talk about Facebook. So there's a memoir that came out called Careless People, and it's a former Facebook executive, Sarah Wynne Williams. She gives like this insider's perspective on the company's internal dynamics and controversial practices. And you're like, Facebook? Controversial practices? Brr? Are you sure? You're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. So basically the book is basically saying it's getting a lot of attention, especially after Meta's legal attempts to suppress its promotion, which inadvertently boosted its popularity, right? I mean, that we see that all the time. Something tries to stifle something, and that's what the author would be like, oh, thank you. This is so awesome. I'm going to get so much free publicity for this. Awesome. And so they go with it, right? So there was like, the things that I picked up out of this article were the memoir alleges that CEO Mark Zuckerberg sought to appease the Chinese government by developing tools that would enable censorship and data access, raising ethical concerns about the company's commitment to user privacy and freedom of information. They would target vulnerable users. Okay, all of you out there that have an Instagram account, all of you that have a Facebook account, just think about this. If your daughters, your sisters, your friends, any of your females are out there, anybody who has a friend that might be a little vulnerable, or a family member or someone that you love, says that the book claims that Facebook exploited data from teenage girls who deleted selfies, forwarding this information to companies that targeted them with beauty product advertisements, highlighting ethical issues in user data handling. That is the kind of stuff that I've been talking about for years that Facebook does. And now this lady came out, this prominent executive came out, that happens to be a lady, that came out with this book, and she is dropping these bombs, right? She also says that she recounted instances of sexual harassment by senior executives, including inappropriate remarks from COO Sheryl Sandberg, shedding light on a toxic work culture within the company, as well as that Zuckerberg manipulated data and misinformation during the 2016 campaign and misled Congress about Facebook's role in global events, such as the Secretary of Environment in Miramar, raising questions about the company's influence on politics and social issues. So that's a big one. So check it out. There's a memoir called Careless People that came out. And Meta's trying to bury it. So woohoo on that one, right? Let's move along from that. Also, I mean, this stuff, like political stuff and computers are kind of going hand in hand here. Have you heard about the whole White House with Starlink and stuff? So I was like, and I really like to keep the show out of politics, like one side or the other. I like to talk about what's going on, but at the same time, like this. So the article said that why is the White House using Starlink to improve Wi-Fi, quote unquote, improve Wi-Fi? Okay, so I want to talk about this just for a second. So like, let's say if you're at home. Because this is what this show is about. We're about computer stuff. Let's say if you're at home and you wanted to improve Wi-Fi. Let's say if you built a house and you and it's a big house. Oh my gosh, wow, you're doing great. And you built this big house and it's got Wi-Fi, and in the corners, at the very corners of the house, the very extremes of the house, the Wi-Fi works, but it just barely works, right? And then something else happens and you acquire your neighbor's property and you're going to build a big giant addition connected to your house onto your house. So there's a big giant additional part of your house that's coming along, right? And so if you put more house and your Wi-Fi was just barely reaching the house before, now you need more Wi-Fi to reach out there, right? Okay. So what would you do? If you have a house that's big, that has a big infrastructure that maybe has access points, most likely you have an infrastructure like the internet comes into the wall through a cable, coaxial cable, goes into your modem, right? The modem then goes to a router. The router at that point on a normal home sometimes will have Wi-Fi built into it, etc. And it's kind of like that's like where it stops, and that's where everything connects to is that router. But on some of the nicer homes now, especially, they'll have like a networking closet, and you'll have like a wired router that's on a rack. And so you have the cable coming in to the modem, then it goes to the router, and then the router will go to like a switch, which turns that one routed port into like 20, let's say. And then all those 20 ports go to like wall sockets around the house or something, right? But on top of that, you have something called a PoE, a power over Ethernet port. And you can plug in an access port. So basically, or an access point. An access point would be like a dish that you'd have on this, like when you go to businesses or offices or like a hospital or something, you see those little dishes on the ceiling. That's an access point. That then has a wired connection back to the switch, which then goes to the router and then goes out to the internet. And what you do is then you'd have an access point. There would be like a couple of them on the floors. So that's what your overall network architecture is. Now that we've added this wing onto your house, congratulations, we need to add more access points. So what we would do is we would run networking cable. We'd hire a contractor or do whatever we're going to do to get the cabling from the closet in the main house all the way through the walls, into the walls of the new house, and over into the middle where we can put a new access point or 2 or 3. And each one has its own wire, and then we put an access point into it. And now we have extended our Wi-Fi network into our new wing of our house. And that's how you extend Wi-Fi. That's how you make Wi-Fi better. That's how you would then add or improve Wi-Fi, right? The White House is starting to implement SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet service to enhance its Wi-Fi connectivity. Is like saying you're getting rid of your modem. You're keeping all your stuff. You haven't you haven't installed anything into your home, into your new wing of your house. You're using the existing access points, and now instead of using Xfinity Wi-Fi or Xfinity internet coming into the home, you're now going to use AT&T internet coming into the home. Okay, so what about the new wing that doesn't have any Wi-Fi out there? It's like, well, we have new internet coming in the house, and that's what this article is saying. It's saying that Starlink is coming in to improve the Wi-Fi. So you're like, so right now there's a lot of people on the Wi-Fi at the White House, and it gets kind of sluggish and slow, evidently. And it's addressing issues like spotty cell service and an overtaxed Wi-Fi infrastructure. But instead of installing Starlink terminals directly on site, the service is routed from a distant government data center, right? That's a setup with that also has raised questions, I guess. And it's coming over through the Starlink there from like being piped from like blocks away, and everyone's like, why don't you just add more access points like we were talking about here, where you add more dishes that then plug into the multiple ports you can then, multiply because you can add switches, you can add, that's how network infrastructure works. And then you would also keep the existing infrastructure while building upon it and creating more points for people to access, which then allows more. I mean, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, you're like, what? I mean, I don't understand. That could have address the connectivity issue without introducing potential security risks associated with satellite internet. Just saying. So that's another thing I was kind of like, that's a little interesting from the computer side as a network engineer going, okay, well, how would I have fixed the network connectivity stuff? I would just add more access points, more routers, more connections into the existing network, not bring in some third-party satellite internet that some people are going to be able. I mean, if you're on that network, then you want to print on something on the intranet that's here, then you have to switch off that network to go to the other one, unless they're going to incorporate those two, which then also brings over the bleed over, which then goes into satellite. So now all of a sudden the satellite network now has access to the White House's. Okay, cool. I'm not on site. I'm not the engineer there. That'll be interesting to come out. Another thing I read about an article. It was titled, "It might be time to admit that the great VR experiment has failed." And this article was basically saying this author from How to Geek, which is a good website that has a bunch of cool articles and tech and stuff. Tim Brooks, he was talking about the current state of virtual reality technology and suggests that even though there's been significant investments and advancements in VR, that it really hasn't achieved the mainstream adoption. And you're right. And I can talk about that right now because I wear glasses. I also own contacts. I don't like to wear contacts, but I own glasses. I wear glasses. And they haven't pushed the whole thing where if you get VR glasses, this big giant thing sitting on your head, if you wear glasses, it's very uncomfortable or it doesn't work or scratches your lenses. And that now you can get prescription lenses for your VR glasses. So you can get the big VR thing from PlayStation or Oculus or wherever you're going to. And in there, that you can get these magnetic lenses. They're like $150 or something extra on top of the $400 you've already spent on the system, or $300 now maybe. And you can have lenses and have your prescription inside the VR glasses. That for me would be huge. But people don't want crap on their face. They don't want this huge thing on their head. Hurts their neck. It makes them motion sickness. It's not a main thing. It gets dirty. They get scratched up. It's heavy. And people Google Glass barely caught on because it was still too much on your face and people don't want to do it. So this article goes on and talks about how a lot of people haven't bought VR headsets. There's a lack of widespread interest, or the value in the technology really isn't there. There's market challenges, limited content. Even though if you go to PlayStation, there's like hundreds of VR games, and there's a lot of them that are really good. And the PlayStation VR has revolutionized the way you can do VR with one cable at home with the controllers and stuff. And now they're doing hand augmentation stuff. So there's some cool stuff out there. If you're into VR, especially if you're into racing, like if you like Gran Turismo or any of the type of racing games, you sit down into like a racing seat and put on this VR goggles, and you can look around the car and you can see people behind you, look in your rearview mirrors, you lean over and it leans you over. I mean, it's immersive. It's really something. It's pretty cool. But again, not mainstream. The gentleman also talks about the VR's trajectory with other type of emerging technologies, noting while some have seamlessly integrated into daily life, VR remains on as a periphery for most users. And I agree. I think that the VR stuff is really going to step more into an AR, which would be more like augmented reality, where the Vision Pro Apple glasses, that headset that Apple made, that is augmented reality because you look through it and you're seeing what you see right now. You're seeing with your eyes. But then there's like these overlays where a screen will show up in front of you, or an icon or something will be highlighted. There's a guy, I see his videos all the time online, where he's an electrician. He runs like low voltage cables, like running those network cables we were talking about earlier. And he'll use the Apple Vision to mark in the house. So he'll be on a wall and he'll pick the wall and he'll be like, okay, I want the box right here. And then it'll freeze there, and if you walk away from it, it stays on the wall. It stays over there, stays over here, and it stays on the wall. And he'll leave the room, go around the house, go underneath, go into like the basement, and look up, and he can see where that is in space based on all the cameras, based on the logistics of where he went and everything. And he actually does his wiring based on the augmented reality inside inside the Apple Vision Pro headset. So. It's cool for what it does, but again, I think the next thing that would really make VR something would be a way to move more. People kind of stand in place with VR, and they have some of the things where they have you have a little thing around your waist, and the floor kind of moves below you, and you can walk in place, that kind of stuff. I think that would get more. I don't know. VR is cool to the people who use it, but again, I completely agree. It's they're in the article they're questioning the future viability of VR as a mainstream technology, considering it may continue to serve a niche market rather than achieving a broad consumer adaptation. But again, you're talking about a piece of hardware that's expensive. It's not a cheap thing. VR is not expensive. I mean, you're still spending $300 on just the headset. You still need something to drive it, like a computer or a video game system, and then you're buying media for that thing. And then sometimes, you need some headphones, or sometimes you need a replacement controller or something. So it's money. It's money. So you're in like $700, and that's not even if you're doing any of the VR stuff with the racing and stuff and the simulators. And my gosh, you can get into thousands of dollars really quick. There was a guy who came up to me, wanted to build a flight simulator, and I was like, how much do you want to spend? Do you want to spend $2,000 or do you want to spend $20,000? How you can go crazy, as with many things today. So let's see, you got about 4 minutes until the halfway break here. Let's see if another one. Actually, that's important. I want to talk about that one. Let's see. The scams that are coming across from the toll, the toll, you get a toll email or a toll text message. Holy moly, I've gotten like 3 of them last week, and they keep coming. I've probably gotten 15 to 20 total myself, and everyone's getting them right now. But like, where are they coming from? They're people all across the United States are getting them, and they usually want like this small amount of payment, right? They want like $25. They threaten penalties, as like fines or suspension of your driver's license or something, or suspension of your vehicle registration. But the whole idea is to like provide personal and financial information. Like, that's the whole thing, right? They don't want your $25. They want the credit card that you're going to charge the $25 to, and they're going to use that to charge other things. So there's a lot of things like they come from Easy Drive, Easy Pass. Fast Track was dropped on me once, but only once. I've only seen that was legitimate once. And Text Tag, TXTAG. I've seen a couple ones that have come through that as well. It's basically using like a phishing kit. It seems like most of them, from what the article was saying, that they're mostly coming and originating from China. But there's literally tens of thousands of URLs that they're using, and they're always registering new domains to evade detection and to basically getting thwarted to being caught. FBI has already been notified. Federal Trade Commission's been notified. They've issued alerts about them, and they're emphasizing that legitimate toll agencies typically do not request payments via text message. That's where it gets down to it, and that's where we need to kind of tell other people, oh gosh, I'm getting all this blah 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 blah. The IRS does not take gift cards. Toll companies do not ask for tolls via text message, right? They'll Fast Track might text you, hey, your limit is low. Jump on to fasttrack.org and put more money on your card or more money on your tag. That sounds about right? But it didn't give you a link to Fast Track. It just told you to go on to the Fast Track website and take care of it, and that's fine, because that's not giving me some order and clicking on some weird link or something that's coming through. So don't engage it. Don't click on any links. Don't respond to unsolicited text messages about unpaid tolls. If you're really not sure about it, contact your local state's toll company, right? Fast Track or Atlanta Tolls, whatever it is, and contact them directly using the official contact information. If you don't have that, email me, luigi@pleasurepointcomputers.com. I will help you get whatever it is, and I will help you move that through. And if you receive the text, report it to the FBI's Internet Crime Compliance Center, IC3.gov, love IC3.gov. Report it. Don't just block it and stuff. Jump on IC3.gov, spend 5 minutes, and tell them about it. It might be another one that's popped up, or they might be able to combine it with others to get whoever they are. But it's happening. It's happening a lot. I've had it happen to me a ton of times. I've had multiple people ask me about it and talk about it. So it's happening, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Again, if it's coming over text message like that, there are ways to check. If you go over, it's like I said, I crossed like the New Jersey Turnpike or something, and I'm like, dude, I haven't been to New Jersey in my whole life. Or it'll say something, oh gosh, you last time you were in LA, da 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 da, and you're like, LA? What are you talking about? I think they'll give themselves up by saying something specific, and you're like, that's not me. It's not me. So again, just keep your head, hold your truth, and you'll be fine. This is the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, and KSQT Prunedale, 89.5, 89.7, and 90.7 FM. We're going to go to a quick break real quick. A couple of underwriters, important people, and important things that are going on here at the station and would help keep KSQD on the air. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Computer Man with more up-to-date things, Windows 10, and a couple other things that are coming on, as well as some email questions and your phone calls at 831-900-5773. We will be right back.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Whether you're on the road or at home, you'll never be without your Squid. With the KSQD app, you can take the Squid everywhere. Connect with your favorite host. Learn about new music. Text a request or comment. Browse our podcasts. Record a message and listen uninterrupted while you browse. Download the KSQD mobile app for iOS or Android at ksqd.org or in your app store.
All right, thank you very much.
Bought a new car recently? Not sure what to do with that old one? How about donating it to K-Squid? We'll take it off your hands and you'll get a tax deduction. Visit our website, ksqd.org, and follow the support menu.
My name is Luigi Opido, owner-operator of Pleasure Point Computers and the host of The Computer Man Show, a one-hour call-in show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Viruses, slowdowns, scams, and updates. Computers can be a pain, and I'll help you through it.
Send me an email with your request. If it's hardware you want, baby, I'm the best. I'm the computer.
If it has an on switch, we'll probably talk about it on The Computer Man Show Tuesdays at 6 p.m. only on KSQD 90.7 FM Santa Cruz.
Get into a computer.
Hi, I'm Bobby Bishop, host of Be in the Night, bringing you the best I can with jazz, love songs, and soul. Join me on Tuesday evenings from 7 to 10 p.m., playing the classics straight ahead and introducing you to the latest artists and composers. That's Tuesday nights from 7 to 10 p.m. right here on listener-supported KSQD 90.7 FM, Santa Cruz.
Yes, the best. Nothing better than having some jazz, ooze all this computer nonsense out of your brain, and no one better to bring it to than Bobby B coming up at B in the Night, 7 o'clock. Stick around. All you got to do is let it happen to you. Sit around and just let this smooth jazz not even smooth jazz, just awesome jazz come over you and make it just right. So, Bobby B in the Night coming up, 7 o'clock. Just let it happen. We're back here at the Computer Man Show here on KSQD Santa Cruz, K-Squid, 90.7 FM, and online at ksqd.org. I have one more. Yes, okay. Actually, pretty important. But also, I want you to stick with me on this. Windows 10, end of life, October 14th, 2025. That's coming up. That's it's not soon, but it's not far away. It's coming, and that is an end of support date. And as per Microsoft, they're sending out an email. They're beginning to notify people with an evasive email string that has an ad on it to buy a new computer, which I think is just really callous. Anyway, so Windows 10 is going out of support October 14th, 2025. What does that mean? We'll talk about that in just a second. What if you want Windows 11? You have to have something called the TPM chip inside your Windows machine in order to upgrade. So let's go here. We'll kind of go back and forth again. So October 14th, 2025, Windows 10 is no longer going to be able to receive security updates or technical assistance, potentially leaving systems vulnerable to security threats. That's per Microsoft. Okay, so let's dissect that a little bit. Windows 10 will no longer receive security updates. Okay, some of you out there, when I see your computers, you haven't updated your computer for months. And then I click on the update and they go, oh, yeah, that's right. And so that's a security update, right? And we're not updating as well as we should be. A lot of you are. A lot of you are doing great, but there's a lot of them I see. I go, oh, we haven't updated for quite a while here. Okay, one. Oh, I don't need updates or whatever the answer was. Doesn't matter, but I see that. So just throwing that out there, that also is kind of not happening in the first place, but it should be, and we should have security updates. Second thing is that basically that it's saying you can't ask them for technical assistance. How often do you reach out to Microsoft and ask for technical assistance? Yeah, exactly. You don't. So that's another thing. It's just you're like, okay, well, so both of those things are going away. So security updates, that's important. Granted, a lot of the security updates and a lot of security that you need is being stopped and being used and utilized by your router. the most important stuff, that's kind of 50-50. That's important as well as your operating system. So, but the fact that the way they're doing this, I think, is going to be different. When Windows 7 went away and end of life and went to Windows 10 or skip Windows 8 or whatever it was and went directly to Windows 10, when they did that, there was kind of a leeway. And you're like, okay, well, you can use your Windows 7 key to update to Windows 10, but every Windows 7 machine was capable of going to Windows 10. Was it going to run like garbage? Yeah, it could, because it's kind of a big operating system, but it was physically able to update. You could do that. That is not the case with Windows 11. You need what's called a TPM chip. This we were talking about just a second ago. Trusted Platform Module. This is a chip that's built into your motherboard that has extra encryption processes and a couple other extra things to make Windows 11 viable in today's encrypted world, basically. It allows you to, I think it actually holds some of the encryption keys or creates encryption keys for some of the BitLocker type stuff or to encrypt the drive with the motherboard. So if you pull the hard drive out, you can't get your data out unless you have the encryption key, blah, blah, blah. Security. So Microsoft is going, hey, we're cutting off the support to your machine that's probably working just fine at your house. You may or may not have a TPM chip, but as of October 15th, you're not going to have a machine that's going to, I guess, function. But then they're also not really spelling that out either. It's more of a, we're not really sure. We're just sending this email out. And I think over this summer, there's going to be a big pushback because people are going to start understanding more and more people are going to be asking about it. More and more people are going to be like, oh, well, let me just see if I can upgrade. Oh, I can't. Wait a minute. Do you mean I have to buy a new computer in November or October or when before October? And that's going to be, there's going to be a lot of that because you're like, dude, people don't have a grand to drop on a new computer. They just don't. So I think Microsoft putting this together like that and kind of coming at everyone with a purchase requirement here that we need to buy new hardware is kind of heavy. So right now they're saying users are encouraged to check if their current PCs meet the system requirement for Windows 11. Devices that do not support Windows 11, Microsoft suggests considering the purchase of new hardware compatible with the latest operating system. And that means a motherboard. And that means if you have a desktop, maybe you can swap out your motherboard, which means you're getting new processor and new RAM, which is kind of a hefty thing, and you're installing it in your desktop, if you can do that. If you have a laptop, you're just screwed. You just have to buy a whole new laptop. And so does that mean all the laptops that don't take that are just going to not be able to work? And Microsoft has normally been like, oh, this is what's happening. And then I have a Windows 7 machine that just actually started giving me a little bit of grief just recently because the browser started doing stupid things. And that's it. But it's still, there it is, Windows 7 still cooking along, right? Like in 2025. And it's fine. But this whole Microsoft TPM thing makes me nervous that they're going to do some type of hard cutoff thing where it might actually kill some Windows 10 machines, and all of a sudden now people are stranded without a machine looking to spend $700 minimum on a machine that might be decent enough to run Windows 11. So, but on the other side, Microsoft is going, oh, let's profit off of you if you're not going to get a Windows 11 machine, and they're going to start a 1-year ESU program, Extended Security Update. So they're offering an ESU, Extended Security Update program for consumers, extending security updates until October 2026 for a fee. This program is designed to provide additional time for users to transition to Windows 11. You're like, uh-huh. So to facilitate transition, Microsoft provides tools to assess hardware compatibility with Windows 11 and offers guidance on backing up the data using services like OneDrive, which also forces you into being online and putting all your data online. And then you have more data than they're giving you for free, and then they charge you 99 cents a month, and all of a sudden you have more than that. Now they're on to $2.99 a month, and on it goes and on it goes, nickel and diming you to death. The company highlights that Windows 11 delivered enhanced security features, improved performance, and a modern interface. Windows 10 is great. Windows 11 is better now, but Windows 10 is great. That sucks. We have to get away from it. Aiming to provide a more secure and efficient computing experience. So, whatever on that. That kind of concludes my current events right now with this kind of stuff because some of it is just frustrating, to be honest. I don't like the forced planned obsolescence stuff. I guess that's redundant to say forced planned obsolescence because planned obsolescence is forced. But I don't like it. I don't like the fact that I have stacks of functional computers at my shop that were literally just quote unquote out of date. Granted, you can run Linux on them, etc., but people don't want to learn Linux. They want to use what they're normally using, and a lot of that is just consumer. It just chaps me a little bit, and it's frustrating because people are spending money they don't have to get devices they really don't need, when something 10 years ago that might still function would have done what they needed to do if they would just allow us to update those things and not have to sell more things to make more money. And that frustrates me. So it frustrates me for you. It frustrates me for me. But then also now things are just getting ridiculously expensive just because they're getting expensive. Like if you want to buy I had to buy a 12-port USB hub for a new workstation that I'm putting together at the shop, and that hub, when I bought it a year and a half ago for another machine, it was $29, and now it's $54. And you're just like, it's the same hub from the same seller, from the same manufacturer, in the same box. It showed up exactly the same, but it's almost twice as expensive now. So, yeah. Anyway, so let's go on with that. I talked about this other time. This, again, super silly, but amazing things. I wanted to have like a thing where every week I come up with some funny website, and I know they're out there, but I just don't have the time to actually come up with a website and then come to you. But if I find one, I'll bring it to you. And one of them was whatpizzaisbigger.com. And this is the type of brilliance that the internet was about when the internet first came out. Whatpizzaisbigger.com will let you put in the size of pizzas that you have as a deal, right? So if you get like 2 medium pizzas for $12.99, or if you get like a large pizza for like $12.99 or $14.99 or something, and then you can see by the circumference and the size of the 2 medium pizzas and the size of the large pizza and the price you're paying for each, which one physically has more pizza and which one is a actual better deal. And that is amazing. So whichpizzaisbigger.com, whatpizzaisbigger.com, excuse me, that is the reason we have the internet, I think, is for stuff like that. And that's back when the internet was like really kind of like magical, right? When we were silly websites like that were like, yeah, let's figure that out. Someone made a whole website about pizza. Perfect. Great. Perfect. All right, let's get into some of the email questions. I actually have quite a bit of them that we've been kind of skirting a little bit because there's been so many other things. We had amazing callers. And you too could be an amazing caller if you want. 831-900-5773. That's 831-900-KSQD. Oh, there's a little artistic squiddy on the wall there. That's kind of cool. But if you have a question here, let's see if we have anything out there. Yes. Absolutely. We had someone write in, and you're absolutely right. I said restate my wording. I said this lady, I said that when I was talking about the Facebook whistleblower, she's an incredible executive. And she said that the Facebook executive said women are not less qualified to be whistleblowers. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. In fact, women are more qualified to be whistleblowers because they are more likely to be discriminated against and have a point of view from the outside that can clarify what's really going on the inside. I love that. Yes, yes, yes. I completely agree. Completely agree. I was I was saying kind of like how I said like this dude, and after I said that, that does not sound right. So I apologize, and I thank you for bringing that out. And you're absolutely right. They have, it says that they are more likely to be discriminated against and have a point of view from the outside that can clarify what's really going on the inside. I love that. Thank you so much for that clarification, and thank you for listening. And that was written to us from the app. So if you're in the app and you hear something that's really that's hitting you, you can jump on the message, and we'll see it pop up on our email right here. And it's really something. It's an awesome feature that we have. Now we got a caller calling in here in the last. Oh, we got about 15 minutes. Yeah, let's see what's going on in the real world. Hello. You're on with the Computer Man. How can I help you?
I had a question for the Computer Man.
Awesome, dude. What's going on?
Well, we're lucky enough that we just built an ADU in our garage. We converted it into an ADU.
Nice.
And, of course, the modern world requires internet.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about with the contractor, he's like, well, I could run a line from the telephone pole and blah, 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 all the way to back, or I could just, connect from your current router modem.
Okay.
Just run a Ethernet cable to the new unit.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what we chose. So at the moment, we pay Comcast too much money for not enough speed.
Okay.
And, I was imagining when we did this, we'd have to, upgrade the speed at some point.
Okay.
But if we wanted to have, the ADU on a separate, on a separate Wi-Fi network, right? We don't want our tenant to be on our home Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
what would be the best way to do that? I guess because like we have the cable into the unit. Like, do we buy another modem router or like a switch or like what?
Yeah.
What would be the best way to connect them to their own Wi-Fi network, right?
Yeah. So
like piggybacking off ours.
what I would do is you probably have like a little closet or something where that wire goes to, right? Or does it go just into does it come out the other side of the wall and just kind of plugs into your modem? Is that what it does, or your router?
So it comes out of our, the internet comes in from the street. It goes into our modem router, and then we have, it's one of those ones that has like the multiple Ethernet ports in the back. So
Right.
we ran a port, like a cable, Ethernet cable under our house through the wiring and all that to their unit, and then it's just like a wall, plug-in cable now.
Okay.
Like, it's like an Ethernet port, like mounted on the wall.
Yeah. Okay. So we could do a couple things. One thing you could do is on your side you could have control over that by basically putting another router after the router that you already have. So you have them. Are you using like Comcast like modem router thing that comes all in one right now?
No, we bought one from Costco. It's a modem router, Wi-Fi router.
But it is a combo unit.
It is a combo unit, yeah.
Okay, so what I would do then is I would get a secondary router, like a Netgear router, not a doesn't need to be a modem router, but just a separate Netgear router. They have they're like $100. It's like an AX 3500 or something like that, or 1300, whatever it is. And get one of those routers and basically take the cable that goes from the modem router. Instead of it going out to the ADU, you're gonna basically take the router that cable, go from the original modem router into the new router, and then as the WAN, and then you're going to have that blue cable that goes off to the ADU. You're going to plug that into one of the LAN ports. So it basically just adds the router into the center. And what that will do is it will give this is on one side. We could do this one or two ways. This is the first way. If we do it this way, it'll segment their routed internet traffic from your routed internet traffic, and it'll actually create almost like a really quick VPN or whatever. So they're on their own internet over there, you're on your own internet over here, but you're still getting the same internet signal, right? So it has to travel through your or through your router, but they're not going to be able to see your traffic based on that.
Right.
The other idea would be then, if you just keep the cable that same way, when you're in the unit and it comes out of the wall, then at that point then you plug that into a router that has either Wi-Fi on it, or you get an access point that plugs into that wall unit, and then that broadcasts its own Wi-Fi signal, which would then be kind of segmented. But if you did the Wi-Fi signal, it would still go back to your router, which would then be on your network, and you'd have to do some VPN stuff inside the router. So if you do another physical router in the closet, then that would actually segment it more and give more of a break, and that'd be really easy to set up. You just plug it in, and basically it has, I found internet, and off it goes, and it just continues on, and you have two separate networks.
And then we can just tell the tenant, hey, buy your own Wi-Fi router and just plug it into the wall, and you should have your own internet.
Yeah, you could do that. Or if that Wi-Fi, that router unit that you bought from $100 from Best Buy or whatever, that has Wi-Fi on it, and if the ADU is close enough, then that theoretically would be broadcasting its own Wi-Fi. You name it the ADU Wi-Fi. You have your Wi-Fi broadcasting out of your modem router, and there's two separate Wi-Fis being broadcast out of the same closet, and he connects to that one, and you connect to yours.
Yeah, I think the distance would be a bit much for most of them, but yeah, that makes total sense. And the idea of having the router between us and the unit to create its own separate, virtual VPN.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and that would do it. And then if you just said, hey, plug in a little access point into that wall unit, put it right on your desk, that'll give you Wi-Fi, you're set to go. And then they have control over it. They have control over their passwords and everything, and it's their network inside their home, broadcasting from their home. They'll have the best signal. That'll be the best.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, I want them to have a good connection. And
cool.
Then, less strain on our network, too.
Yeah, dude. So if you need any help with that, I'd be happy to help out with it. Especially putting the modem on the router, but it should just plug right in as long as the cables are plugged in the correct places. That should totally rock it. Should work.
Dude, that's awesome, man. I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller, and I just want to say thank you for all your awesome work that you do for the community. And I know you're involved in the station Beyond the Computer Man. So just shout out Luigi.
Awesome, dude. I thank you. Appreciate that. I'm gonna keep it up.
Yeah. Keep it up, man. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, dude. Will do. All right. Take care. And these phone lines open for you for the last about 10 minutes or so here on 831-900-5773. If you're a longtime listener, first-time caller, that could be you too. Here at 831-900-5773, or shoot us over a message on the app, and we'd love to hear from you. So let's see. Let's go on. I've got a couple email questions. Well, I've got a lot of email questions over here always, right? Let's see. This I always do that. Oh, this is a good one. They're all good ones, right? And I start off the same one every single time, but I remember what it is. Okay, so this one says random computer shutdowns, which can be one of the most frustrating things you have, right? When when you're working along, all of a sudden just shuts off. Now, granted, there's only a few amount of things that would make it do that in current day. Back in the day, there was millions of things it could have been. But today, it's a little bit more narrowed when you have something that just completely cuts power in the middle of a process. So this person said, I had ran out of ideas about this problem. Mid to last year, I built my partner a small form factor computer. Ryzen 5 has a good Noctua cooler. It's a mini ITX power supply, so really it's kind of a small guy. A nice case, GPU, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 4060 Ti, that's pretty awesome. And what's the power supply on here? 750 watt, 80 plus PSU. So that's on the low end of a PSU I'd want for a 4060, but that's fine. So it's suffering from random restarts. Does this thing where the screen goes black and the audio keeps playing for 10 seconds or so before restarting. Interesting. So the screen goes black, but the audio keeps playing for 10 seconds. Okay, so the first thing I would check before even going any further, are we having audio through HDMI or is it audio through a separate cable? Because if audio is going through HDMI and we're losing video, that could be something inside the card. But if we're having audio through the separate mux, then that could be something completely different. So I'm just kind of curious about that. That's just where my brain went. It said the blue screen dump always has dxg kernel.sys and nvld-dmkm.sys, which I think is a DriveDX, or not DriveDX, the DirectX and NVIDIA drivers as the culprits. It says, quite often but not always, the crash happens when he's using both a game and watching something in the browser like YouTube on Edge. Oddly enough, it's quite enough happening if I stand up from my computer chair, like my chair is 2 or 3 feet from the tower. It does it the same. That's weird. So I've tried a bunch of different things. None of these have solved the issue. I've reseated the RAM. Okay, RAM would do a hard shut off. That would be true. The RAM could be bad as well, but we'll go past that. Memory diagnostic tool, SFC, check disk. Those are all standard stuff wouldn't also do a hard shutdown like that. The SFC would more be like a freezing thing, not like a shut off thing. Let's see, update the BIOS multiple times. That's frightening. Disable the integrated graphics. Okay, sure. I'm sure it does that when you actually put the card in. It should turn off the integrated graphics, but fine. That's fine. Turn off Expo XMP on the RAM. Okay, that's actually some extra speed stuff on the RAM. Probably that's an interesting idea, but also probably nothing to do with hard shutdowns. Manually set the PCIe 16 slot to PCIe Gen 3. Okay, it's probably auto sensing and probably already went that way, but that's okay. That's fine. Okay, DDU and reinstalled the NVIDIA driver. Okay. So completely got rid of the NVIDIA driver and reinstalled it as a fresh install. Swap the graphics card for a different graphics card. I thought maybe the GPU may have been a culprit. Okay, but that didn't do it. And it did the same thing. Plugged the computer into a different surge protector, and I set Edge to turn on hardware acceleration off into NVIDIA power settings to high performance. Wow. Okay, that's a lot of stuff, right? Okay, cool. But it said my desktop computer, which is in the same room and on the same electrical circuit, does not have the same issues. Third computer I built, but the first one, first SFF one, okay. The other two have been fine. If I had to make a guess, the thing that's just different is the riser cable. Any idea what to try? Next step is just replacing things like the rising cable. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lead back on your power supply, dude. Like everything that you're saying and everything you swapped out, which is a lot of good stuff. I really be really interested to see if you have a new power. Nothing of this was talking about the power supply being changed. And in this fractal mood case, the GPU is dependent on that riser for its connection. So it could be the riser because the way the case sits, the video card is too big to sit perpendicular to the card. So the motherboard and the card actually sit parallel to each other, and there's a riser cable that goes into the connector on the bottom of the card that goes into the actual motherboard. Blah blah blah. It's another connection, right? And our connections are only as good as our weakest links. And if we're creating extra connections, that could be a problem. But also, they've attached that, and it should be good stuff. But I would rise that up. But again, I would go back to the power supply, 750 watt on a 4070, and you're running a Ryzen, dude. A Ryzen processor is just fat for power. They need so much power to run. That's like where they get their speed is by heat, and by heat I mean power. So if you're running a 750 watt power supply on a Ryzen, what was this? A Ryzen. This is a Ryzen 5 7600, which is strong but not crazy. Ryzen 5, and then on top of that, you're running a 4060, 16 gig 4060. Yeah, I'm gonna put my dollar down and say it's a power supply thing. That's what I would say. I'm really curious. Actually, I've written back. We haven't heard back yet from them, but I'm curious if that's going to be it. But that's where I would go with that. All the other stuff was good, but I'm almost positive it's power supply. Okay, let's do another one in the last 3 minutes here. Okay. Hacked and Not Worried. Last week I've been getting a lot of emails from password resets. A lot of my accounts, Reddit, Steam, Ubisoft, Disney, Microsoft, etc. They're all linked to my Microsoft email. Okay. I reset the password. At that point, I installed Microsoft Authenticator on my phone. That's good. That gives you a good two-factor authentication system. That's great. I've since been getting lots of requests on Authenticator to log in, which I've been denying. And in my account activity, I can see that I have had many unsuccessful login attempts from all over the world. Fast forward to about a half hour ago, I got 20 requests from my other accounts again, as my Disney account got the password and email changed. I had to phone Disney support directly to get it back. And then out of nowhere, I got something on my email, which has really made me worried. It's in my inbox, but it says it's a draft. And it's not in the draft section, only the inbox, but it says as follows, quote, I have a screenshot of exact email, but I can't seem to add photos. And it basically says that they have my accounts and they've been recording me and will send my photos and videos to everyone if I don't send money via Bitcoin wallet, blah, 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 right? That stuff, right? They had my email address and my new updated 4 days ago email address. And then 4 days ago, password request was also included. Okay. I've installed my password a separate time. I'm also terrified if all this is real. Can anyone help? What is this? I'm like, okay, you need to reinstall Windows. You most likely have a keylogger on your machine, all right? It's almost definitely a keylogger. They're watching everything you're typing, so just if you gut Windows and reinstall it, it will be gone. I would then get a password manager and change your passwords, make them safe to do it, so you can do it from your phone or from your tablet or from this PC as well after you've reinstalled everything. But get a password manager and start changing your passwords to save them in the password manager. Enable all your two-factor authentication. Remove any unknown accounts from or unknown devices from those accounts, right? Look at the names of the devices, make sure they're all gone. And always in the future, if it offers you, use two-factor authentication and always set up the backup options for it. It's really important, and it's one of the best things you can do. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, well, we've reached the end of another Computer Man show. If I missed your call tonight, you can always reach me by email, Luigi, Luigi, @ksqd.org. Remember to tune into the Computer Man show Tuesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. here on 90.7 FM, K-Squid, KSQD. I'd like to thank all my listeners and my callers. Thank you, KSQD, Sandy Stone, Howard Felstein, Rachel Gibby, David Kibrick, John Sanders, all of Santa Cruz, Nicola Tesla, the Wasp, Mr. Casey, the Torvalds, and of course, the humble Electron. Thank you again, Santa Cruz. I am your Computer Man here on K-Squid, KSQD 90.7 FM, and KSQD.org. Stay tuned right here for Be in the Night. I hope you all have a positively charged evening. Until next time.
I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man, he is your friend. He gonna help you again and again. So if you have a question or two, he's got the answer just for you. I am the computer man, and I am ready for questions now, thank you.
Mr. Computer Man, how much is 2 plus 2?
4.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell cat?
C-A-T.
Mr. Computer Man, how do you spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious?
With letters. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. I am the computer man. I can do anything you can. Computer man is very wise. He speaks the truth, he never lies. So if there's something you don't understand, just ask the computer man.
Hi, Mr. Computer Man. My name is Jenny. I have a question for you.
Wait, Jenny does not compute. What is your number, please?
Number? I don't have a number. I'm a person.
A person? A person? Amazing!
9,999 times 999,000.
A heck of a lot.